Imagine waking up in a world without walls. No borders. No flags. No agreements between strangers. Only the cold breath of a continent, the sound of your own clan around the fire, and the certainty that beyond the next ridge, anything could be alive, and anything alive could be hungry. This is the world your distant ancestors knew. Not as a story. As a Tuesday morning. This is Europe, around 40,000 years ago. The last great ice age has closed its grip on the northern half of the continent. Glaciers a kilometer thick sit where Berlin and Warsaw will one day stand. Mammoths drift like brown islands across white plains. Wolves shadow the reindeer herds. Cave bears claim the deep places. And humans, yes, plural, share this land. Two kinds of people, looking at each other across the cold, both of them us. You may have already heard of the Neanderthals. We tend to picture them as brutes. The truth is closer to a quiet tragedy. They had been the people of this land for hundreds of thousands of years. Stocky, barrel-chested, with shoulders made for surviving winters that would kill most of us today. They buried their dead. They cared for their wounded. They made tools, they made fire, they made love, and they grieved. They were, in every meaningful sense, human beings. And then we arrived. The other humans. Taller, leaner, faster on our feet. Our ancestors, yes, but at the time, just one more strange tribe coming up from the south. We carried lighter weapons. We carried something even more dangerous than weapons. The spear thrower, the bow, and a deep, almost obsessive talent for talking to each other. For making plans. For carrying a memory across a generation in the form of a story or a map drawn in mud. What happens when two kinds of people meet, and only one of them has these things? It is one of the oldest and most uncomfortable questions in human prehistory. And the answer is rarely simple. Sometimes there was peace. Sometimes there was trade. Sometimes there were children, born of two species, whose descendants are reading these words today. And sometimes, we know from the bones, there were ambushes. You are about to see it. Not as a textbook chapter, but as a morning. A specific morning, in a specific valley, in the lives of specific families that did not know they were standing on a hinge of history. They thought they were just feeding their children. They were also, without knowing it, fighting for the future of an entire species. Picture the Neanderthal camp first. A fire. A mother nursing an infant under a hide cloak. A boy, 7 years old, broad-faced, dark-eyed, holding a sharpened bone like it is a real spear. An old man, old by their standards, late 40s, gray-bearded, watching the ridge with the patience of someone who has lived through 8 winters more than anyone he started with. The hunters return with meat. The children laugh. This morning is, until it is not, like every other morning their grandmothers ever knew. Up on the ridge, the strangers are already counting them. 12 modern humans. Painted faces. Ivory beads sewn into their tailored furs. Bone-tipped darts loaded into spear throwers that can drive a point through hide and bone at 60 meters. Quiet hand signals between them. A leader who treats the camp below not as people but as a problem to be solved. We do not know exactly why these raids happened. Maybe a hunting ground was disputed. Maybe a child of theirs had been lost to a clan like this one. Maybe it was simply easier to take than to share, and our species has always carried that ugliness inside it. What we do know, from skeletons, from cut-marked bones, from injuries that healed and injuries that didn't, is that these encounters were sometimes terrible. The first volley is silent until it lands. A dart shatters a hide frame. Another lodges in the frost. A third finds a shoulder. Children scream. The fire scatters. The mother grabs her boy and her girl and runs for the rock. And here is what nobody told you about the Neanderthals. They do not break. They were not built to break. The auburn-bearded hunter at the center of his clan plants himself in the frost. The broad-shouldered woman swings a bone club that snaps a bough in half. The old man, the gray one, the one with a cave bear tooth around his neck, drops a charging warrior with a low, clean lunge of his oak spear. They are slower. They are outranged. But up close, they are mountains. The raiders pay for it. 2 of theirs go down. The war leader sees the cost rising in his own count and raises a fist, and just like that, the attack ends. They withdraw up the slope, leaving torn cloaks and scattered ivory beads in the frost. They take their wounded with them. They do not look back proudly. They look back like men who have learned something they did not want to learn. Because here is the thing about the first wars. They were not always won. They were never clean. The people who survived them, both sides, carry the mourning back into their lives, and the mourning never quite let go. In the Neanderthal camp, a young man is dead. His sister, the woman with the bone club, scoops the first handful of earth onto his curled body in a shallow grave at the base of the limestone overhang. A flint axe is placed by his head. Wildflowers across his chest. The oldest human ritual we can recognize, performed by people we are still tempted to call primitive, even now. They gather what they can carry. They walk downstream. Days later, they find a new valley, a new cliff, a new fire to start with shaking hands. The boy practices with a spear cut down to his size. The mother sings a song to the infant by the river. The old man presses a red ochre handprint to the stone, and beside his, the others add theirs, even the smallest, and a line beneath them that might be a horizon or a river or a memory of a ridge that almost killed them all. And the war leader, he does not feel like a winner either. He sits at his own fire that night, an ivory bead loose in his palm, the cut on his cheek mixing dried blood into his black war paint, and he understands, perhaps for the first time, that the broad-faced people in the valley are exactly as human as he is. He had expected something easier. A frightened clan. A short fight. Instead, he met a wall of muscle and grief and stubborn courage that bent his strategy and broke two of his hunters. He will tell the story tonight to his elders. He will sketch the valley in clay mud beside the fire. The next raid, if there is one, will be planned more carefully. This is how organized warfare is born. Not in battle. In the quiet evening after. This is the part of the story we usually skip. Because elsewhere, in another valley, on another snowy plain, a different small group of these same two kinds of people meets at the edge of a mammoth herd. They do not attack. They raise empty palms. They hunt the mammoth together. They share the meat by a single fire. They exchange a flint blade for a bone needle. They sit close to each other for warmth, and they understand each other without understanding each other's words. We carry both of those mornings inside us. The ambush and the shared fire. The volley and the open palm. We are descended, most of us, from the people who painted their faces and came over the ridge. And we also carry, in our DNA, the genes of the people we ambushed, because eventually, in places, we did not only fight them. We loved them. We had children with them. The Neanderthal who held the line at the limestone overhang has descendants today. So does the war leader. They might be the same person. Could you survive a prehistoric ambush? Maybe, if you were lucky, and your clan was strong, and the old gray-bearded man at the edge of camp was paying attention. But survival was never the only question. Survival was the small question, the one your body asked. Your clan asked larger questions. Do we run, or do we stand? Do we bury the dead here, or carry the memory of this place with us? Do we teach the children that all strangers are enemies, or do we teach them that even strangers can become hunting partners by a shared fire on a snowy plain? The other question, the harder one, is the one a small Neanderthal boy asked himself the morning he pressed his red ochre hand beside his mother's on the cliff face. What kind of human do I want to be when I grow up? What will I carry forward, the spear, or the open palm, or both, knowing when to use which? 40,000 years later, we are still answering. We are still waking up in a world full of strangers beyond the next ridge. We are still asking whether to lift a weapon or lift a hand. The boy at the cliff face is gone, but his question is not. It belongs to all of us now.